Hello and welcome to CZenStar, This Week in Star Citizen. Ending today, April 24th, 2015. I am Citizen Ed of CZenstarNews.com, where we put the citizen first. This week's new Citizen Star, Zudratha, brings to us Hunter, a very promising Star Citizen fiction webcomic. Great work so far and hope to see much more. Remember, if you want to know more about any of these stories, navigate your browser to CZenstarNews.com and locate the latest Citizen Star, This Week in Star Citizen.
This Week in Star Citizen.
This week's Teller picks from our Mobiglass. We have browsing our Mobiglass on my Mobiglass, grappling attachment, no time for questions, get in, gravity turned off, freelancer smuggler compartments, hint below the beds, overboard, and random skyline. Random skyline is actually a shot from the work Teller did to create a digital set for us here at CitizenStar. Pretty proud of that.
This Week in Star Citizen.
Teller's piece, No Time for Questions, Get In, inspired me to write a piece I'm calling Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, a mashup of Star Citizen and Hunter S. Thompson's seminal work, The Wave Speech, from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It was interesting mixing the Vanduul threat to the Vega system, as well as the Terra-centric progressive counterculture. Ironically, CIG released the Vega Galactic Guide a few days later. I had a lot of fun making it. Let me know what you think. I think there's more that can be done with that if you're interested.
This Week in Star Citizen.
This week we also got to see the space plant reveal. The $49 million stretch goal, Xeon Space Plant, said to be similar to a bonsai tree. The Centennial Bloom is a very famous Xeon or Xion plant indigenous to Aeolus 3 that blooms for one night every 100 years. They sell the plants in sealed terrariums to traders. Ever since their introduction to the UEE, humanity has been fascinated by these beautiful plants and the wait for them to bloom. Dev posts, what you may have missed. Opt-out leaderboards on the way, being implemented now, according to Ben. We also had an in-depth stress test post-mortem by Will Leverett. Quoting Will, we throttled up the debug logs on the live service early last week, then analyzed the data, which in turn resulted in a variety of fixes. For a first run, this went exceptionally well. We learned a ton from running a live service stress test, plus we had a lot of fun with you in the process. We're thrilled that so many of you not only took out time to test, but also to provide feedback. We're very pleased that service stability has improved and it held up to the load, though there's obviously still many items to work on. We knew we hadn't fixed all of the kicked back to lobby and infinite load screen errors. This test helped clarify what we need to work on. We've got a long list of client-side bugs to address. So, sounds like that's coming along. I certainly found the game to be a lot more stable and usable of late, so that's good news. CIG staffing. Meet the Devs video with Lisa Ohanian interviewed. We've got a new employee introduced on Around the Verse, senior producer Eric Karen Davis. Karen? Mark Toscano is an interesting hire. Didn't get a lot of fanfare, but it was broken on the Star Citizen subreddit, which I highly recommend you keep an eye on. Mark Toscano is lighting and look development. Former ILM movies guy with a long filmography. Also worked with the CryEngine, with Warframe, and Uncharted 3. So looking for great things there. Also, there were several interviews at ATV. Lance Powell, art director, and interviewed Steve Bender, animation director, about the recent animation work. There's an extended version on Facebook, so check that out. Matt Sherman and Mark Abent talked about game balance. And Alexis Lesnick interviewed Christine Marsh, lead UI designer, and Dave Richard, lead game designer of Behavior Interactive.
This week in Star Citizen.
Estimated release schedule updates. There's been no Star Citizen Alpha 1.1.2 this week, so that's slipping into the soon TM category. It's supposed to feature the new tutorial and multiplayer fixes. It's probably 2 weeks away before we actually see this drop completely. We would probably see a test version of it first, and then go into production, so that's a little disappointing. 1.2, the FPS Star Marine release, we're still hoping for May. It will feature a new retooled launchers. Travis Day talked about this on Reverse the Verse. He says all this back-end work is delaying FPS, but that'll mean a better FPS. We also heard in news around the verse lots of focus on the Citadel, which they are using as a proving ground for the enhanced animations and other improvements. This will be replacing the 16x16 team elimination. The other game mode will be the 8x8 on the Gold Horizon station. 1.3 Planetside Social is still expected about a month after FPS ships. Not really sure if any of this is affecting the Squadron 42 estimates. Squadron 42 performance capture is underway in England as we speak, so they're working heavily on that. We're expecting to see the results of that around the end of the year. These delays are almost certainly affecting the PU, which is meant to build on the planet side. We still expect to see slow progress as features are added over time to successive patches throughout this summer and the end of the year. Arena Commander 2.0 has not been mentioned much recently, but progress has been made on getting the Freelancer and Connie flight ready. May actually not be very heavily impacted by current delays. We'll see if this gets done for summer release as expected.
This week in Star Citizen.
Breaking news update. Being introduced this week are the ships of the Hull series, the surprisingly sexy utilitarian cargo haulers. Designated Hull A through E in increasing size, the ships finally were offered late Friday night, technically on time in CIG's LA office Pacific time zone. The previously teased unique features of this ship is that when not hauling, the cargo-bearing structure can collapse into a much smaller ship. This is a fascinating zero-G adaptation of a container ship. Bravo, CIG. Clearly very efficient for hauling, but a nightmare in combat. One hopes shields helps the whole thing hold together under fire. The standardized spindle, found on all members of the Hull series, is capable of securely attaching many types of cargo containers. These range from standard store-all big box containers to specialized freight units equipped for liquids, perishable goods, dispatch parcels, livestock, and more. Owing to the ubiquity of the cargo pallet system, many manufacturers have created third-party add-ons capable of taking advantage of the Hull superstructure. These range from additional ship upgrades, shield generators, sensor suites, and the like, to stealth cargo pods, to gimbaled turrets, and other weapons which can take the place of some cargo pallets on larger ships, with corresponding reduction of cargo capacity. As a result, these expansion ports. The Hull series is one of the most popular modular starships available. Many view it as a platform upon which to build, as much as the bulk hauler it was designed as. The Hull A and Hull B are said to be able to land fully laden. Hull A seems clearly designed for that. Hull B, on the other hand, not quite sure how it accomplishes this feat. With this design that has cargo protruding below its hull, those must be heck of a landing gear there. Hull C and larger must unload to land, though they are equipped for water landings favored on low-gravity worlds. The Hull C is called the most common ship in the galaxy, so loading and unloading facilities must be commonplace. Please note, the Hull series measures carrying capacity in standard cargo units or SCU. The SCU value for the previously released ships that used now obsolete freight units can be determined by dividing the total capacity by 4. The stats page will be updated with the proper SCU data shortly. Comparisons to other known haulers is a bit difficult at this point, as we've also been told there will be adjustments to the existing ships. Right now, the Hull A is about the same hauling capacity as a Freelancer Max. Hull C can carry as much as 3 Banu merchantmen. Each of the Hull series uses the same standardized cargo containers and sports flat panels on the outside of its superstructure for the sale of advertising. Not defenseless, all the Hull series sport relatively light weaponry for staving off the odd attacker. Clearly would not stand up in a fight against determined attacks, at least in the stock configurations. The LTI concept sales come in at Hull A $60, Hull B at $90, C $200, D $350, E $550. And the surprising combo package called Hullapalooza comes in at a whopping $1,250. Remember, you're funding the game, it's an alpha phase. Remember to check out the disclaimers while you're ordering. The Cargo Deep Dive document also came out about the same time as the Hull series. It's actually quite a bit more than just cargo. It details how we would be interacting with props, including the capability of picking up, dropping, and even doing coin flips, tossing the object into a cargo container. Also mass loading and several other levels of dealing with cargo and items. And don't forget, Star Citizen logoed hats are on sale. Limited qualities, Velcro going fast, snapbacks holding on a little longer. And that's all the news for CZenStar. Hope to see you next week in Star Citizen. CZenStarNews.com, where we put the citizens first. Engage with Star Citizen today. Follow the news, both development and in lore, or write your own articles, features, and fiction. We take citizen submissions. There's room on staff, or become a partner. You can let us help develop your brand. CZenStarNews.com, where the citizen is the star, chronicling your stories. The history of the verse is unfolding now, real time. Don't wait until 2946 to be a part of Star Citizen. CZenStarNews.com. Would you like to know more?